You think porn is making you more sexual, more experienced, more in control, but it's doing the opposite. It's numbing your response to real intimacy, real touch, and real connection. The more you train your brain to chase fast stimulation, the harder it becomes to stay present with a real woman. That's the truth most men don't want to hear. If you want your focus, confidence, and sex life back, you don't need more fantasy. You need your mind back. If you want stronger options, here are 10 more attractive hooks in that same style. You think your problem is low desire? But the truth is, you've trained your desire to respond to fantasy instead of reality. Porn doesn't make you better in bed. It makes you worse at being present. You're not losing your sex drive. You're losing your connection to what's real. The problem isn't that real women aren't enough. The problem is your brain got addicted to unreality. You think porn is a harmless release, but it may be the reason real intimacy feels harder. Every time you choose fantasy over reality, your body learns the wrong lesson. Porn gives you stimulation without connection, and that's exactly why it ruins both. You don't need more extreme content. You need to reset your nervous system. If real intimacy feels flat, it's not because reality is broken. It's because your brain has been overstimulated. The more porn you consume, the less your mind knows how to stay with what's real. If you want, I can also give you. You think porn is helping your sex life because it gives you release, confidence, experience, some kind of edge. But it's not training you for intimacy. It's training you to disconnect from it. You think the problem is that you're not turned on enough, not experienced enough, not wild enough, not lucky enough with women, not attractive enough, not skilled enough in bed. But for a lot of men, that's not the truth. The truth is uglier and simpler. You've trained your body to respond to novelty without presence, intensity without intimacy, stimulation without responsibility. And now real life feels flat. Real touch feels slower, real connection feels harder, and you're blaming reality for what repetition did to your nervous system. If you know you need reminders like this, subscribe now because you do not need more noise. You need truth on repeat. You need something that cuts through the excuses the moment your mind starts negotiating with weakness again. Not because I need a subscriber, because you need a standard in your ear when your impulses start acting like your master. Let's make this plain. Porn is not just a habit. For a lot of you, it has become a private conditioning system. That's the real issue. Not the screen by itself. Not desire by itself. Conditioning. Association. Repetition. Reward. You click, you scroll, you hunt, you spike your brain, you finish, you crash, you numb out, and then you do it again. Day after day, week after week, year after year. And then you wonder why your mind is restless, why your attention is fractured, why your partner doesn't feel enough, why your arousal needs more shock, more novelty, more extremity, more distance from reality to even wake up. That is not freedom. That's dependency with a slick interface. Here's what it really means when porn starts destroying your sex life. It means your mind has been trained to consume instead of connect. It means your arousal has been taught to chase what is detached, curated, exaggerated, and endlessly replaceable. It means sex stops being something you enter with presence and starts becoming something you compare, perform, and spectate. And the moment you become a spectator in your own sex life, you lose the one thing that makes intimacy powerful. Presence. Not performance. Presence. That's why some of you can be physically next to a real woman and still feel far away. Your body is there. Your attention isn't, your hands are there. Your focus isn't, your eyes are open, but you're not actually seeing her. You're scanning, evaluating, comparing, reaching for a level of stimulation that real life was never meant to imitate. Then you panic. Then you overthink. Then you force. Then you go numb. Then you tell yourself, maybe I'm just tired. Maybe I need something more intense. Maybe she's not the one. Maybe I need variety. Maybe I need a kink. Maybe I need a different body. Maybe I need a different face. No, maybe you need your mind back. This is the misconception. Porn feels sexual, so you assume it supports sexuality. It doesn't necessarily. Junk food tastes like food too. That doesn't mean it nourishes you. Fast stimulation feels like desire. That doesn't mean it builds masculine vitality. Constant access feels like power. That doesn't mean it gives you control. Sometimes the thing that feels most available is the thing making you weakest. And here comes the hard truth. Porn doesn't just change what you do. It changes what you expect. It changes the pace you need. It changes the novelty you crave. It changes the way you respond to boredom, stress, loneliness, insecurity, rejection, fatigue. For many men, porn stops being about sex a long time before they admit it. It becomes medication. It becomes escape. It becomes sedation. It becomes the place you go when life feels heavy and you don't want to feel your own mind. That's called self-soothing through stimulation. That's called emotional avoidance with a sexual costume. Be honest. How often was it really about desire? And how often was it about not wanting to sit still in your own discomfort? Bad day? Porn. Rejected? Porn. Stressed? Porn. Can't sleep? Porn. Feel behind in life? Porn. Feel ashamed? Porn. Feel empty? Porn. You're not chasing pleasure anymore. You're fleeing yourself. And what you repeat, you reinforce. You reinforce impatience. You reinforce fragmentation. You reinforce the reflex to reach outward the second tension shows up. You reinforce the lie that relief is the same thing as resolution. It isn't. Relief is temporary. Resolution changes you. Relief puts a blanket over the fire alarm. Resolution finds the fire. So why does this happen? Root cause, not surface. Root, because porn exploits three things that modern men are already starving for: control, novelty, and escape. Real intimacy asks something from you. It asks for vulnerability. It asks for patience. It asks for awkwardness sometimes. It asks you to be seen without editing. It asks you to care. Porn asks almost nothing. It lets you stay hidden. It lets you skip effort. It lets you feel powerful without becoming powerful. It lets you simulate sexual abundance while your actual life shrinks. That is why it's seductive. Not because you're uniquely broken, because it offers counterfeit solutions to real pain. You want certainty. Porn gives you a guarantee. You want novelty. Porn gives you endless options. You want relief. Porn gives you instant access. You want validation. Porn lets you imagine you're desired without risking rejection. You want intensity. Porn gives you exaggerated stimulation without emotional responsibility. And all of that sounds convenient until you realize convenience is not the same thing as nourishment. A comfortable lie still weakens you. This is where a lot of men get defensive. They say, it's normal. Everyone does it. It's not that deep. That sentence has buried more growth than failure ever did. It's normal. So what? Normal now means overstimulated, distracted, anxious, underdisciplined, underconnected, and privately ashamed while publicly pretending everything is fine. If normal is sabotaging your body, your focus, your confidence, and your connection, then normal is not your standard. Stop hiding behind what is common. Common is cheap. You are supposed to build rare. And understand this clearly. The damage is not always dramatic at first. It's subtle. That's why men stay in it for years. You don't wake up one day with a giant sign above your bed saying, porn is dismantling your intimacy. It creeps in quietly. You need more time to get aroused. You need more stimulation to stay aroused. Your imagination starts getting colonized by content instead of reality. You become less responsive to what is real and more dependent on what is artificial. You start feeling impatient with tenderness. You lose taste for slowness. You struggle to stay present. You perform instead of feel. You chase climax instead of connection. You become obsessed with mechanics and detached from meaning. Then the costs stack up. You stop responding naturally. You stop trusting your body. You stop feeling calm in intimacy. You stop listening. You stop enjoying simple affection. You stop seeing the person in front of you and start seeing roles, angles, categories, functions. That is not sexual growth. That's erosion. And the worst cost is not even physical. It's psychological. It's the split it creates inside you. One version of you wants depth, love, intimacy, confidence, peace. Another version wants immediate escape, endless novelty, and zero friction. One version says, build a life. The other says, just get through tonight. One version wants to become a man of presence. The other wants one more hit. That inner split drains your self-respect. Because every time you betray what you know is better, you teach yourself a lesson. Not with words, with behavior. The lesson is this: my urges make the rules here. And once a man starts believing that, even unconsciously, he gets weaker in every area. Because discipline is never just one area. The man who cannot tell himself no in private has a harder time standing firm in public. The man who constantly reaches for stimulation has a harder time building concentration. The man who numbs his loneliness instead of facing it stays emotionally adolescent even if he looks grown. The man who keeps outsourcing relief never develops the nervous system of a grounded adult. That's called arrested development. You age physically while your responses stay boyish. You want the rewards of manhood without the weight-bearing capacity of a man. And yes, that shows up in the bedroom. Because good sex is not created by a frantic mind. It is not created by a mind trained to chase spikes. It is not created by a man trying to reenact clips in his head. It is created by safety, presence, polarity, attention, confidence, responsiveness, self-command. Real sex has rhythm. It has listening. It has adjustment. It has silence. It has eye contact. It has imperfection. It has unpredictability. It has emotion. It has moments that aren't photogenic and therefore are actually human. If your mind has been trained by fantasy, reality may feel too quiet at first. But quiet is not dead. Quiet is where depth lives. You have to understand the difference between intensity and aliveness. Porn gives intensity. Real intimacy gives aliveness. Intensity is a spike. Aliveness is a current. Intensity peaks fast and drops fast. Aliveness deepens the longer you stay present. Intensity needs escalation. Aliveness needs attention. Intensity is hungry. Aliveness is grounded. If all you know is the spike, you will misread depth as dullness. That is your conditioning talking, not truth. And then comes the lie that keeps men trapped. I can quit whenever I want. Maybe. But if you keep saying that while not quitting, you're not describing strength. You're protecting ego. Real strength does not need to announce optionality. It demonstrates command. If you can stop, then stop. If you keep returning, ask the better question, what part of me still needs this? Not because you're pathetic, because if you don't identify the need underneath the habit, you will keep fighting symptoms and losing to the source. Maybe it's loneliness. Maybe it's boredom. Maybe it's resentment. Maybe it's unexpressed anger. Maybe it's fear of intimacy. Maybe it's a scattered life with no mission strong enough to hold your energy. Maybe it's shame. Maybe it's that your days are empty and your nights are undisciplined. Maybe it's that no one taught you how to regulate yourself without reaching for a screen. Good. Now we're getting somewhere. Because once you stop moralizing and start diagnosing, you can rebuild. Not with self-hatred, with responsibility. There's a difference. Self-hatred says, I'm disgusting. Responsibility says, this is costing me too much and I'm done pretending otherwise. Self-hatred makes you collapse. Responsibility makes you move. Self-hatred keeps you staring at the floor. Responsibility makes you lift your chin and act. So let's reframe this. Quitting porn is not about becoming less sexual. It's about becoming less divided. It's about taking sexual energy out of the hands of compulsion and putting it back under consciousness. It's about restoring your ability to be turned on by reality, moved by reality, connected in reality. It's about making your desire clean again, directed, integrated, human, not frantic, not split, not hidden, not dependent on pixels to feel awake. That matters because your sexuality is not a side issue. It is tied to your focus, your confidence, your mood, your discipline, your relationships, your standards, your identity. A man who cannot govern his appetite becomes easy to control. By the market, by the algorithm, by the screen, by his own impulses. But a man who can feel desire without becoming a servant to it becomes dangerous in the right way. Dangerous to mediocrity. Dangerous to addiction. Dangerous to every system that profits from his weakness. Now picture the man who gets this right. He is not repressed. He is not numb. He is not pretending he has no desire. He is not scared of sex. He is not scared of attraction. He is not trying to become some cold machine. He is warm, present, alert, grounded. But his energy is not leaking in 10 directions. He has boundaries. He has rhythm. He knows how to carry tension without instantly discharging it. He can sit with desire without becoming desperate. He can enjoy a woman without reducing her. He can feel chemistry without losing center. He does not need constant novelty because he is not spiritually starving. He does not need fantasy to wake up because he lives awake. He walks into a room and there is weight to him. Not because he talks the loudest, because he is not fragmented. He listens fully. He looks people in the eye. He is not secretly hiding a compulsive life that drains his confidence. He doesn't need to posture. He doesn't need to prove. He doesn't need to chase every impulse like a teenager with access and no direction. He respects himself in private, so his presence carries something in public. That's called congruence. What he does alone and who he claims to be are not at war. With a woman, he is calm. Not passive. Calm. He is there. He notices her breathing, her energy, her tension, her response. He is not mentally elsewhere. He is not comparing her to 1,000 images. He is not rushing to get somewhere. He knows that intimacy is not a performance to win. It is an exchange to inhabit. He leads with attention. He leads with groundedness. He leads with self-command. And because of that, his desire has force without becoming aggression, depth without becoming dependency, confidence without becoming theatrics. That man is not built by accident. That man is built by choices. Private choices. Daily choices. Boring choices. Honest choices. So here is the practical part. Not theory. Action. First, stop pretending moderation works for you if it clearly doesn't. If every just once turns into a spiral, then just once is a lie in your mouth. Call it what it is. A trigger phrase. Cut access. Remove the easy path. Put friction between impulse and action. Delete the stash. Block the sites. Get the device out of the bedroom. Stop sleeping with the portal next to your head like it isn't loaded. Weak environments create weak decisions. Design matters. Second, stop making this only about porn. Build a life that gives your energy somewhere better to go. Train hard. Lift. Run. Fight. Build. Work with intensity. Read something that sharpens you. Spend time outside. Take your sleep seriously. Eat like a man who respects his own chemistry. If your body is underworked, your mind becomes a playground for cheap cravings. Exhaust yourself with purpose, not compulsion. Third, catch the pattern before the act. Every habit has a doorway. Learn yours. Is it late at night? Is it after scrolling? Is it when you feel rejected? Is it when you're bored? Is it after a stressful day? Name the doorway. Because if you only fight the final moment, you're already too late. The battle is earlier. The battle is when the restlessness begins. The battle is when the rationalization first whispers. The battle is when your hand reaches for the phone with that foggy little excuse. That's the moment to interrupt. Fourth, when the urge hits, do not negotiate with it. Move. Immediately. Stand up. Change rooms. Cold water on your face. Push-ups. A walk. A call. A journal page. Breathing. Music off. Screen off. Lights on. You are not trying to think your way out of a physiological loop while sitting in the exact posture that feeds it. Break state. Break pattern. Break proximity. Action first. Reflection second. Fifth, stop feeding your mind content that keeps you half aroused all day. A lot of men say they want freedom while spending hours marinating in softcore triggers, thirst traps, suggestive clips, fantasy-driven scrolling, and then acting surprised when they're crawling at night. No, you kept the fire alive all day and called it harmless. Clean your inputs, guard your eyes. Not out of fear, out of strategy. Attention is expensive. Stop spending it on things that make you weaker. Sixth, relearn arousal through reality, not escalation. That means patience. That means allowing your system to calm down. That means not panicking if everything doesn't feel electric overnight. If you've overstimulated yourself for years, normal may feel muted at first. Stay with that. Do not run from that. That is recalibration. That is your body remembering a more human baseline. Healing often feels boring to an addicted mind because it is the death of excess. Seventh, if you are with a partner, bring honesty and presence back into the equation. Not performative guilt, not a dramatic confession to dump your shame on someone else. Real honesty, real effort. Slow down. Focus on connection. Focus on breathing. Focus on touch. Focus on being there. Less spectacle, more sensitivity. Less pressure to produce an outcome. More willingness to experience what is actually happening. When you stop trying to force intensity, you make room for depth. Eighth, build accountability that insults your excuses. Tell one person with a spine, not someone who will pet your weakness. Someone who will remind you who you said you wanted to be. Shame grows in secrecy. Discipline grows in exposure to truth. You don't need a crowd. You need one honest mirror. Ninth, stop counting only streaks and start counting recoveries. Yes, streaks matter, but if all your identity hangs on a number, one slip becomes a collapse. The point is not to become a man who never feels temptation. The point is to become a man who does not build a house inside temptation. If you fail, stand up faster. Learn faster. Adjust faster. Self-respect is not perfection. It is refusal to stay down. 10th, replace the phrase "I'm trying to quit" with "I don't live like that anymore." Language matters. Identity matters. What you repeat becomes architecture. Trying keeps the door open. "I don't do that" closes it. You are not begging your urges for better behavior. You are establishing law. And let me tell you something else. The goal is not just to stop watching porn. The goal is to become the kind of man for whom porn no longer fits. That is a deeper transformation. Because if the old identity remains, the old appetite will keep looking for the old escape. You must outgrow the environment internally, not just externally. You must become a man whose standards make certain behaviors feel beneath him. Not because he is superior to others, because he refuses to be inferior to himself. This is masculine self-respect. Not fake alpha theater, not chest beating, not loud quotes over dark music. Self-respect is quiet. It's what you do when no one is watching and no one would know. It is the decision to keep your word to yourself when breaking it would be easy. It is the refusal to consume what cheapens your mind. It is the ability to carry desire without kneeling to it. It is the maturity to say, "This may be common, but it is not worthy of me." And if that sounds intense, good. Your life deserves intensity directed at truth, not intensity wasted on fantasy. Because what's really at stake here is not just your sex life. It's your relationship with reality. Porn trains distance. Recovery trains contact. Porn trains passivity. Recovery trains participation. Porn trains secrecy. Recovery trains congruence. Porn trains hunger without satisfaction. Recovery trains depth without chaos. Porn makes you a spectator. Recovery makes you a man again. Ask yourself, when was the last time you felt fully here? Fully in your body? Fully in a conversation? Fully in eye contact? Fully in a moment of touch without your mind splitting into noise? That is what you're actually trying to get back, not some sterile version of discipline, not some robotic purity. Presence, wholeness, clean desire, clear attention, self-trust. And yes, it will be uncomfortable. Good. Growth is not a spa treatment. It is a stripping away. You will meet cravings. You will meet restlessness. You will meet rationalizations dressed like logic. You will hear that voice say just one time, just to release, just to reset, just because today was hard, just because you already messed up, just because no one will know. And in that moment, you have to understand what is happening. Your old self is asking for another vote. Do not give it one. Choose the man you are building. Choose him tired. Choose him frustrated. Choose him lonely. Choose him horny. Choose him stressed. Choose him at midnight. Choose him when no applause is coming. That is where identity is forged. Not in the motivational clip. Not in the comment section. Not in the fantasy of change. In the decision. Then the next one. Then the next one. And over time, something powerful happens. Your eyes clear up. Your attention stabilizes. Your shame lightens. Your body responds differently. You start feeling more alive from ordinary things. Conversation feels richer. Attraction feels cleaner. Women stop being abstract stimulation and become real again. Your confidence stops depending on a secret you hope no one notices. You become easier to respect because you are finally easier for yourself to respect. That is the real reward. Not just better sex. Better self-command. Not just better performance. Better presence. Not just fewer urges. More power. So if you came here hoping for some comfortable message that tells you nothing is wrong, that you can keep feeding yourself fantasy and somehow still become deeply connected, highly disciplined, sexually grounded, and fully alive, this is not that message. Comfort has lied to you enough. Here is the truth. What you repeatedly consume shapes what you can deeply enjoy. If you train on unreality, reality pays the price. If you keep choosing the counterfeit, do not act shocked when the authentic starts feeling inaccessible. But here's the better truth. You can reverse this. You can rebuild sensitivity. You can rebuild focus. You can rebuild confidence. You can rebuild self-trust. You can become intimate with reality again. Not instantly. Not magically. But absolutely. The brain adapts. The body adapts. Identity adapts. If repetition helped build the cage, repetition can help tear it down. Day by day, choice by choice, boundary by boundary, truth by truth, And when you slip, if you slip, remember this. Guilt is useless if it does not become instruction. Learn. Adjust. Keep moving. Do not turn one mistake into a return to the old religion. You are not trying to impress anyone with perfection. You are reclaiming territory that has been rented out for too long. This is your mind, your body, your attention, your masculinity, your capacity for love. Take it back with both hands, because no one is coming to do this for you. No woman can heal this for you. No relationship can hide this for you. No motivational quote can carry this for you. No amount of wishing can replace the work. But the good news is the answer was never out there anyway. The answer is the man who decides he is done being divided. The answer is the man who stops asking for permission to respect himself. The answer is the man who can say, my impulses are loud, but they are not Lord. My cravings are real, but they are not king. My past may explain me, but it does not get to command me. You are not a victim of appetite unless you keep volunteering the throne. So stand up, clean it up, cut it off, build your days. Guard your mind. Respect your body. Tell the truth. Stay in reality. Choose what strengthens you. Choose what makes you more present, more grounded, more dangerous to weakness. Not once. Repeatedly. Until the new standard stops feeling forced and starts feeling like your name, you are not broken. You are not doomed. You are not disqualified. You are undisciplined in an area that now demands discipline. That can change. You can change. And if this hit you where it needed to hit you, subscribe, because you do not need softer lies. You need sharper truth. You need reminders that call your higher self back to the front before your lower habits start driving again. Stay close to this kind of message if you're serious about becoming a man who is clear, present, and impossible to manipulate through his cravings. You are the answer you've been waiting for. Not the next video. Not the next excuse. Not the next Monday. You, your choice, your standard, your self-respect. And if you're building that man for real, you belong here.